Welcome into the studios of WCMU Public Media. This time we've got a second round matchup between Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart and Pentwater, and it's coming up next. Hello again, everyone. I'm David Nicholas, and welcome to Quiz Central. This time, students from Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart are taking on the team from Pentwater in this, a 16-team single elimination tournament. The top teams from Quiz Central will qualify for the NAQT High School National Championship Tournament. So let's get to our game. Our first round is the Maroon and Gold Rush. Teams will have 2 minutes to answer as many toss-up questions as they can. If a player answers incorrectly, the opposing school has the opportunity to answer that question. Teams may not consult during this round. Players do receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read incompletely, and that we will indicate by an orange light above their name. As always, answers are worth 10 points apiece, and there is no deduction for incorrect answers. Ready both teams? Ready all of our players? Here comes your first question. What art form mastered by John Y. Naka makes use of akadama clay, small hasami shears, and typically shallow pots to cultivate miniature trees? Pentwater.
Is it bonsai?
That is correct. What term, which refers to a two-person dance exemplified by a wedding scene in the ballet Coppelia, literally means step of two?
Tango.
Incorrect there. Pentwater with a shot. Next toss-up for both. What figure who was punished for depicting Zeus's sexual crimes on a tapestry lost a contest to Athena and was subsequently turned into a spider? Next question for both. According to Vesper theory, what geometry is taken by molecules such as PF3 with a central atom with one lone pair and bonds to 3 atoms? Pentwater.
Tetrahedral.
Incorrect there. Sacred Heart with a guess. Toss up for both. What poem noting the port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting is an elegy by Walt Whitman that likens Abraham Lincoln to a Navy leader? Toss up for both. Skunk Hour is a poem by what 20th century American author who wrote about a statue of Robert Gould Shaw in his poem For the Union Dead? Can't take an answer there. End of the round. Let's check those that were missed in that first round today. Skunk Hour, the one we just had, the answer was Robert Lowell. The term referring to the two-person dance is the pas de deux. The figure punished for depicting Zeus's crimes, we were looking for Arachne. And the Vesper theory question, we were looking for trigonal pyramidal. Trigonal pyramidal. What poem noting the port is near, the bells I hear? That was O Captain, My Captain. Now, before we start our next round, let's learn a little more about our students competing today. As first up, we welcome the team from Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a junior at Sacred Heart, and I do Quiz Bowl.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm a sophomore at Sacred Heart, and I'm on the soccer team.
Hi, my name is Noah, and I am a junior at Sacred Heart Academy, and I do cross country and Science Olympiad.
I'm Ben. I'm a junior at Sacred Heart, and I play basketball and golf.
Thank you, Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart. Now let's say hello to the team from Pentwater.
Hello, my name is Maggie Jorson. I am a junior from Pentwater, and I am the president of the Student Council.
Hi, my name's Lauren. I am a senior at Pentwater High School, and I play basketball and am a member of National Honor Society.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm a sophomore at Pentwater High School, and I play basketball and baseball.
Hi, I'm Jane Howard. I'm a senior at Pentwater High School, and I do art and band.
And a big thank you to all of our students competing today. It's great to have you here. The next round on Quiz Central is the kickoff round. This round includes a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up will get the opportunity to answer a single bonus question. No stealing on those bonuses. After a bonus question, we'll go back to a toss-up then for both teams. Players receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before the toss-up question has been read completely. Buzzer's ready. Here we go with your first question. What scientist who died from aplastic anemia in 1934 co-discovered polonium amid work on radioactivity that made her the first female Nobel winner?
Marie Curie.
That is correct. Bonus for Pentwater. Over 7 million World War II veterans used the education benefits offered by what 1944 law designed to support returning service members?
Anybody know? It's something with land. Land. Yeah, they would get land. Oh, like the CCC. No, like you got free land.
Guessing? All right. Back to a toss-up for both teams. What man whose daughter Anna feuded over child psychology with Melanie Klein advanced the concept of the superego and founded psychoanalysis? Okay, toss-up for both. What god had a priestess known as the god's wife, was worshipped with his wife Mut in Thebes, and was often syncretized with the sun god Ra?
Sobek.
That is incorrect. Pentwater with a guess there. All right, back to a toss-up for both. What food with pomochi and chocolate headlight varieties is a deep-fried treat often in the shape of a torus that are sold by Krispy Kreme? Sacred Heart.
A donut.
That is correct. And your bonus question, what novel by Esther Forbes, set during the Revolutionary War, follows a young man whose hand is mangled while working as a silversmith's apprentice?
No answer.
Back to the toss-up then for both teams. What country, which has been dominated by the People's Action Party since the 1959 election of Lee Kuan Yew, is a city-state in the Malay Peninsula?
Singapore.
Correct for Sacred Heart there. And the bonus, what state's Cayuga Lake, one of its finger lakes, is near the town of Seneca Falls?
New York.
Correct on the bonus and the toss-up now to both. A symphysis is one type of what structures that become inflamed in arthritis, have a ball and socket type, and include the shoulder and elbow? Pentwater.
Joint.
Correct there. And a bonus. What electrical circuit components, which have a parallel plate type, store charge and electric potential energy?
We know this. Physical science.
I don't know, just say a battery.
Battery.
Incorrect there. Toss up for both. What poem, which vows we'll take a cup of kindness yet, was set down in 1788 by Robert Burns in Scots dialect and is sung at midnight on New Year's? Another toss-up for both teams. The parliament that Oliver Cromwell overthrew in 1653 was given what nickname because it was a remnant of the Long Parliament? Sacred Heart.
Short Parliament.
Incorrect. Pentwater with a shot. Back to a toss-up for both. What African city whose Anfa Hotel hosted a 1943 Allied conference is the setting of a 1942 film starring Humphrey Bogart and is a port in Morocco?
Casablanca.
Correct for Pentwater there. And a bonus, in 2024, what state replaced its flag, which insensitively depicted a Native American man with one that features 2 fields of blue and a white star?
Tennessee.
Incorrect on that bonus. And the end of the round, let's take a look back at the ones that were missed. The 7 million World War II veterans used the education benefits from the GI Bill. The man whose daughter Anna feuded over child psychology, we were looking for Sigmund Freud. The god who had a priestess known as the god's wife was Amun. The novel by Esther Forbes we were looking for was the novel Johnny Tremaine. The electrical circuit components, we were looking for capacitors or parallel plate capacitors. And the poem, We'll Take a Cup of Kindness Yet, those are the words to Auld Lang Syne. Parliament for Oliver Cromwell, the Rump Parliament was the answer we were looking for there. And in 2024, the state replacing its flag was Minnesota. Pentwater with a 10-point lead heading into our third round today, and it's the perfect 10. In the perfect 10, teams will have 60 seconds to answer questions from a choice of clues to 3 categories. The opposing team then has 30 seconds to answer any unasked, incorrect, or skipped questions. You can consult throughout this entire round, and we'll take those answers from the team captain. And the team that's trailing gets the first choice to pick a clue to a category. Sacred Heart, we come to you, and your choice of one of these 3 categories. Writing with Willie, translation please, there are 3 primary colors. Again, the 3 categories, writing with Willie, translation please, or there are 3 primary colors.
Colors. Colors.
3 primary colors. The clue here is yellow. Give these answers related to the color yellow. You have 60 seconds to start off this first part of the perfect 10, and it starts with this. British band that sang Yellow Submarine.
Beatles.
1898 war encouraged by yellow journalism about the USS Maine.
Spanish-American War.
Greedy yellow cap wearing rival of Mario.
Wario.
Yellow golden flowers in William Wordsworth's I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud.
Daffodils.
Daffodils.
Yellow character in the board game Clue.
Mustard.
Mustard.
Yellow headwear that names a rebellion against the Han Dynasty.
Yellow turbans.
Yellow-clad member of the X-Men with odontonium claws.
Wolverine.
Band that released the 2000 song Yellow.
Coldplay.
Coldplay.
Country whose 1986 People Power I didn't get to finishing off that one. We will come to you, Pentwater, for your chance to steal those answered incorrectly or those that were left in that category. 30 seconds on the clock for you as we start with this. The country whose 1986 People Power Revolution, or Yellow Revolution, ousted Ferdinand Marcos.
Pass.
Fish whose yellowfin variety is used in sashimi.
Pass.
And we'll check the ones that were missed in that round. The country in the 1986 People Power Revolution, that was the Philippines. And the fish, the yellowfin variety, tuna was the answer on that. All right, Pentwater, we come to you now. You'll get your 60 seconds to run through one of these 2 remaining categories, Writing with Willie or Translation Please.
Writing with Willie.
Maggie, how confident are you in your country? Music.
I don't know.
Riding with Willie.
Writing with Willie is the choice. In the category, the clue, elements of Shakespearean drama. Answer the following about the plays of William Shakespeare. And elements of a Shakespearean drama. Answer the following about plays of William Shakespeare. Your 60 seconds for your part of the perfect 10 begins now. Term he uses for gestures.
Pass.
Either century Shakespeare wrote in.
15th century.
Third main genre of his plays alongside comedy and history.
Tragedies.
A monologue spoken by a character alone on stage.
Pass.
A 5-foot poetic meter of most of his verse.
Pass.
Number of acts in each of his plays.
5.
Round London theater that he helped build.
The Rose.
Term for a non-poetic, non-verse dialogue. And we won't have time there at the bell for that answer. We will come over to you, Sacred Heart, your chance to pick up on those still left in that category. It's Writing with Willie, elements of Shakespearean drama. Answer the following about the plays of William Shakespeare. And your 30 seconds in this part of our Perfect 10 begins with this. Term he uses for gestures.
What?
Pass.
Pass.
Either century Shakespeare wrote in.
16th.
14th.
A monologue spoken by a character alone on stage.
What?
Soliloquy.
Soliloquy.
A 5-foot poetic meter of most of his verse.
Iambic pentameter or something?
Pentameter. Yeah.
Iambic pentameter.
Close there, and let's check those that were not picked up by either team. The term used for the gestures are simply fools. The centuries that he wrote in, we are looking for either the 16th or the 17th or the 1500s or 1600s. The Round London theater that he helped build was the Globe Theater, and the non-poetic, non-verse dialogue was prose. Sacred Heart now takes a 130-60 lead as we start our 4th round today. And as we enter the home stretch round, I'll ask a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up gets the opportunity to answer a single bonus question. There's no stealing on the bonuses. After a bonus question, we would go back to a toss-up then for both teams. Players do receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up has been read completely. If the buzzers are on the ready, and our players are too, let's get started with your first question. In chemistry, what property of being able to compress into thin sheets, which somewhat overlaps with the trait of ductility?
Malleable.
That is correct. And a bonus for Pentwater. What Soviet author described brutal labor camps in his nonfiction series, The Gulag Archipelago, in his novella, One Day in the Life of Ivan Ivanisevich?
No answer.
All right, back to a toss-up for both teams. What play in which the word absent is preferred to dead by Estelle depicts 3 souls who are locked in a room in hell and is by Jean-Paul Sartre? Toss-up for both. The 1918 pandemic outbreak of influenza that killed tens of millions of people was commonly named for what European country?
Spain.
Bonus question now to Pentwater. What 16th century ruler who patronized the 9 Gems artists was known for his religious tolerance during his long reign as the Great Mughal Emperor?
No answer.
No answer there. Back to a toss-up for both teams then. What devices may exploit the resonant frequency of rubidium-87 or cesium-133 to establish a time standard? Pentwater?
Atomic clock.
That is correct. A bonus question to you. What film character voiced by Jenna Davis is copied to create the villain Amelia and was built by Gemma to be her daughter's companion robot doll?
This is
Megan.
Correct on the bonus there too. Back to a toss-up for both. What professor of history at Harvard received a posthumous Pulitzer Prize in 1919 for a memoir about his education? Toss-up for both. What process names a bath of liquid nitrogen rapidly occurs when a piece of metalwork is quenched and decreases an object's temperature?
Oil.
Incorrect. Sacred Heart with a guess. Next toss-up for both. In 2025, what office's current holder, Tenzin Gyatso, disputed that the Chinese government has any right to pick his reincarnated successor? Toss-up for both. What novel in which a red weed is spread by the tripods of invaders who later succumb to disease was written by H.G. Wells about a Martian attack?
War of the Worlds.
Correct. And a bonus for Sacred Heart. Little Girl in a Blue Armchair is a painting by what American woman who, after moving to France, frequently depicted mothers with their children?
Smith.
Incorrect there on the bonus. Not another chance for a toss-up. As we come to the close of that round, let's check those that were missed in our fourth round today. The Soviet author, who described the labor camps in the Gulag Archipelago, we were looking for Alexander Solzhenitsyn. The play in which the word absent is preferred to dead, the play No Exit by Sartre. 16th century ruler who patronized the 9 Gems artists, we are looking for Akbar the Great. The professor of history at Harvard, that posthumous Pulitzer Prize went to Henry Brooks Adams. And the process that names a bath of liquid nitrogen, cooling was our answer there. And in 2025, the office's current holder of Tenzin Gyatso, we were looking for the person that is known as the Dalai Lama. Little Girl in a Blue Armchair, that's a painting by the American woman Mary Stevenson Cassatt. And it's a 40-point lead for Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart with 1 round to go. It's the final countdown, and in this round, teams will have 2 minutes to answer as many toss-up questions as they can. If a team answers incorrectly, the opposing school has the opportunity to answer that question. Teams may not consult during this round. Players, again, do receive that 1-second penalty if they ring in before the toss-up has been read completely. That'll be indicated. You'll see an orange light above their name. Ready, all of our players? Here we go with your first question. What defendant was the subject of testimony by Kid Cudi and Cassie Ventura in a case that in July 2025 acquitted him of most charges of sex abuse? Pentwater.
Sean Combs.
That is correct. Don't Deal with the Devil is a subtitle of what notoriously difficult 2017 Studio MDHR platformer whose art style was inspired by 1930s cartoons?
Cuphead.
Correct on there. Toss up for both. What musician whose wife Alice was a member of his classic quartet was a jazz saxophonist whose albums included Blue Train and A Love Supreme? Toss-up for both teams. What constitutional amendment ratified in 1804 requires the Electoral College to cast separate, distinct ballots for president and vice president? Sacred Heart?
The 12th.
That is correct. Toss-up for both teams. What author of the encyclicals Evangelium and Veritas Splendor served as Archbishop of Krakow in Poland before becoming Pope in 1978? Sacred Heart?
Pope Benedict.
Incorrect. Chance for Pentwater?
Pope Francis.
Also incorrect. Toss-up for both. What country, which pioneered the use of gross national happiness, is a landlocked Himalayan country governed from Thimphu?
Nepal.
Incorrect. Pentwater? Next question. What man signed a bill repealing the Reedy Creek Improvement Act? We come to the close and did not get through that question. Let's check those that were stumps for both. The man who signed the bill repealing the Reedy Creek, we would have been looking for Ron DeSantis, the current Florida governor. The musician whose wife Alice was in the classic quartet, John Coltrane. The author of the encyclicals, the pope we were looking for then, was Saint Pope John Paul II. What country who pioneered the use of gross national happiness? We were looking for Bhutan, or the Kingdom of Bhutan. Closes out the round with those as we summarize, and coming to the close of the game, Sacred Heart 160, Pentwater 110. A great game today. Let's hear it for both teams. Thanks very much, Pentwater. Great effort today, and thanks for competing with us, and congratulations, Sacred Heart, as you move on. It's another round that'll be coming your way very soon on Quiz Central here on WCMU. Great game today. Hope you'll be back for another, we're sure. For all of us here at Quiz Central, I'm David Nicholas, and you have a great night.